Hey, welcome back to another episode of OUTSIDEIN.
Your go-to source for honest conversations about relationships and marriage.
So if you are ready, let's go. Alright, so hari ni kan, today punya topik kita nak berbual kan.
Yeah.
Actually it's something that, we've been wanting to talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's a follow-up to our TikTok.
Oh yes, if you guys,
street interview.
if you guys remember, we did a street interview a few weeks back, I think.
2 weeks back.
Yeah, so this is a continuation of what we know now in August is Wakaf month, right?
Yes.
So, the guest today, I'm very nervous.
MasyaAllah. Of course, we would like to give a big warm welcome to our guest for today, Cik Zulkarnain Rahim, pengerusi Kumpulan Kerja Perancangan Legasi Islam ataupun Islamic Legacy Planning Work Group. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Zul, how are you?
Alhamdulillah. I'm more nervous than you guys.
I think prior to you coming over, kita macam like, how are we going to handle this conversation? But inshallah, it will be a good one.
Yeah, I think the topic that we want to talk about today is quite important, especially in a marriage, right? So, but the thing is, I don't think people understand the importance, or like banyak orang fikir macam we are too young lah, later can think about this, right? And that is Islamic legacy planning.
Yeah.
And also Mr. Zul is a lawyer, isn't it?
Yes. Been a lawyer daripada 2005, 2006.
Wow. So
That's
about
20 years.
almost 20 years. Inshallah.
Yeah, that's why we think that you are the best person to ask about Islamic legacy planning lah.
I didn't start out doing Sharia or matrimonial or even probate lah. I started out macam as a litigation lawyer. Litigator ni macam soldier ants. So the ones that goes to court and fight. But then about macam 4 years in, and I was approached by my client. Cakap, whatever you're doing for pro bono for your community. So I started doing legal clinic in Al Mu'minin, that time dekat Jurong East, and then legal aid bureau, and that's when I do a lot for the community lah. And then knowing a lot more about the cases. So we do Sharia court, divorces, inheritance, probate, letter of administration for our community lah.
CV dia banyak tu. Yeah, so of course, before we dive deep into the topic, what we always do for our guests is we want to find out a little bit more about them.
Okay.
So of course, since it's a marriage podcast, so we're going to ask a bit of marriage related questions for you as well.
Nanti my wife dengar tau.
So I have to tread carefully whatever you say.
Okay, so first and foremost, nak tahu juga, how long have you been married?
Wow. Inshallah, end of this month, it will be 17 years.
Anniversary.
Anniversary dah.
17 years. And you have kids as well, right?
Yeah, I got four children, 2 girls, 2 boys.
2 girls,
16 years old, 13, 11, and 2.
That's a big age
recent.
gap.
So the girl, boy.
Yeah.
So my first 2 girls, no apples on my eye. Then when the third one came, the boy, he was the youngest for so long.
Too long years.
Then when my wife and I were pregnant, dia dah macam very jealous because he's the youngest for so long, and then he'd be like, how come there's a younger guy? And then suddenly it dawned upon him that one day he thought that, hold on for a minute, he's now actually a big brother. Abang. So his title is wow. So that actually spurred him on. But we had our fourth. It was a difficult pregnancy because we were already berumur at that time. So my wife had severe preeclampsia. So it was difficult for her and for me as well. We had to go emergency cesarean, and it was a point in time where the doctor actually said who you wanted to save. So it was difficult because at that time I had a trial in High Court. I had budget debates in the Parliament. Then and then I had my office. So from Parliament pergi ke court. Then after that from court go to KK.
Wow.
So they were in ICU for some time. But then you have to do the kangaroo care with the kid. Tapi he was very small with all the tubes and all that.
Is it premature?
Yes,
Premature.
about 2 months early.
At that point of time when your wife was in that situation, right, that you had to choose, what was going on through your mind? At that point of time, it was 15 years of marriage?
Yes. So it was she reda. There was a malam Jumaat. The next day, and the doctor said that we have to, it's either we, because if we stabilize the baby's heartbeat, her heartbeat go up, or the vice versa. And then we had to do a lot of nutrients for the baby so that his internal organs, all that, and the brain development will be sufficient to survive. So it was very, we had an earlier discussion, husband and wife, and then we said that no, we do the best, if it's possible to save both. So I remember the operation was on a Friday, Solat Jumaat. So we went Solat and Doa. She came out well. Alhamdulillah, both mother and child are okay.
Alhamdulillah.
And I really, I got ada gambar. So this is how he looks like when he was
So
small.
small.
Yeah. Tapi, and imagine like that is very of course my wife wasn't able to see how he was, but
She was
after that,
sedated, isn't it?
and she was in another ward altogether. 2 years in. That's how he is.
Healthy boy,
Mashallah.
Alhamdulillah. So cute.
Mashallah.
But to be faced with such a situation where you have to possibly choose your spouse or a child.
Yeah. Well, I think we ever talked about it before, and I think personally I wouldn't know what to do if let's say I were to be put in that situation, because dua-dua sayang kan.
Correct.
Yeah.
For us men, kita keep everything inside. So none of my friends know. My residents pun tak tahu. We go, we are like ducks kan. Swan bawah under the water paddling. But atas must be very steady. So I always, every time I post about my children, I always have this hashtag, daddies must be steady. So we for them and for my other kids, I have to hold it in. Right? Make sure that we're on top of things. Make sure that that they don't get impacted or affected by of course gemulut dalam hati, dalam jiwa ni Allah saja yang tahu kan. But I think it makes us stronger, and thinking about it was a difficult moment for a couple. It's also good that we went through that and we had that experience together.
Now that you are a father, right? I'm just very curious. What are some of the values that you take from your own father now that you are a father of 4 children?
My father is a father of 6.
Father of 6.
My father-in-law is a father of 5. So my wife and I, kita dah minus because we only 4.
6 by 4.
But they, it's not easy. They were working class, and we live in a 3-room flat, and we have a lot of challenges. But my father, at a later point of his career, he is very disciplinarian. Tapi I'm number 5 in the family, so I'm the youngest boy. So ada sikit can get away with it. So he will bring me. There are 2 moments I always remember. One is he will always bring me to Solat Subuh with my mum. And that time we have dapat company kasih van tu. Van van putih lah, untuk van goods van lah. Tapi then he uses it for family also. So pagi-pagi we solat. Then I noticed one thing. He will macam dengan kita macam garang-garang. Tapi kalau dia dengan my mother, arwah my mother, very sweet. Very sweet. So I pretend to tidur. So nanti duduk depan tu tidur lah, dan dengar macam mana dia joke with my mom and all that. But membawa all that is how you treat women, how you treat your spouse, how you treat others as well. So I remember one time I was on the phone with my friend during lunch. Then I talked berbual. Somebody, my wife, my mom called that time, and then my friend asked, "Siapa tu you talk to?" So macam VIP, you know. Like,
VIP.
I said that.
Okay.
It is the VIP in my life, my arwah mother. So if you don't speak like that to your mother, who do you speak to? Like that. So I learned how to treat women, how to be sensitive, how to understand the other half from my father. That's the one. The second is he brought me to his workplace. So dia punya workplace dekat Sungai Kadut dulu.
Okay.
It's really macam factory banyak ada plant, ada
Warehouse,
kampung, ada anjing. So anjing dia suka,
very
suka
big
dia,
and
they walk around. Then I remember ada security guard.
Okay.
So kita masuk, he tegur the security guard, hello, and all that. But I didn't.
Okay.
Then he called me. He said that you are here as a guest. And just because you work, you are my son, doesn't mean that you don't have to respect others.
He teaches you.
Then dia ada banyak pekerja asing all the migrant workers and all that. And the way he treats them is different.
Very
so
well.
he says that how you treat people below you or perceived to be below you is a measure of the man that you are. So macam like, okay. So all these values, I try to impart to my children. Yes, I mean hit and miss, yeah.
But not exactly the same way that how your dad taught you, but you
The
try your
values
best to
are there
replicate.
Because circumstances have changed.
Yeah.
But you can actually impart values differently to your children. I started my community journey for a very long while already.
Okay.
And then it takes me away from my family for quite a fair bit. So my youngest daughter, my eldest daughter, that time she was about 6 or something. She will always ask me, "Ayah, where are you going?" So nak banyak cerita, nanti meeting ni macam like too boring kan.
Don't really
So
understand.
I will say that, okay, I summarize it. I said, help people. So she always asks me, "Ayah, where are you going?" Help people. Then one day, she stopped me at the door and she asked me, "Ayah, where are you going?" Then I said, help people. But she said something that really broke my heart.
Okay.
So she said to me, help me. Yeah. So when she said that, I said to her, okay, bring your adik. I think her adik was about 3, so datang gitu. And then after that we brought her to the charity that I was working with that time, Kasarauda Women's Home. It was for vulnerable women and children. It's those women yang kena abuse. So they stay there for a while. I brought her there. Down there she saw ramai other kids of her age or younger or even older. And then she realized something like that she's what I'm doing.
Saw
what I'm doing.
Okay.
So she asked me, what are all these women, mothers and children here? So I said, okay, because maybe the fathers did something at their home and they have to leave. Then she said to me, if the father did something, why are they the ones who have to leave?
Wow.
I said that, oh yeah.
6-year-old saying all this.
I said, okay. And I said, she said, but can I play with them? And go ahead. The place, I mean, there are 4 crisis shelters in Singapore. 2 are run by Anglican Church, 1 run by SCWO, the other one run by Kasarauda. They are run by Muslims but meant for humanity. So all the residents, the beneficiaries can be from different races, religion, even nationality, if they are married to Singaporean. So she saw that, and then there's not even a signboard. It's gazetted as a confidential place. And then after that, she understood. She said to me, "Ayah, go help more people." So that was the. So that's
I guess
almost 10 years ago.
that decision you made to bring her along pays off well in a sense.
Yeah. So I think now, you you got to bring, as you bring your spouses into your conversation, you got to bring your kids as well. Because maybe the values or lessons that we want to teach would be better if they learn it on the experiencing it.
Yeah.
Speaking of experience, you have 20 years of experience in Islamic law, right? I mean, you studied Islamic law. So now going on to the bulk main topic, which is Islamic legacy planning, right? So recently, we did a street interview where we interviewed couples and asked them if you know what is wasiat. So the responses were macam, tahu tapi macam tak tahu macam mana. I think I know lah. Yeah, that is the common answers that we got lah. So, and then also one guy, he actually brought up a very good point. He said that he have seen cases where anak-anak dorang bergaduh because of harta mak bapak lah when they pass on. So, as in your experience as a lawyer, have you seen this kind of cases before?
Actually, a lot. Yeah. Both when I do legal aid and pro bono, or I do legal clinic, we hear and we see handle cases such as that. I've also went to the High Court for some of these matters as well. And then you feel that I don't have to do a wasiat, or I don't have to plan because I'm still young. But that's the misconception.
Yes, misconception.
I'll tell you one example. There was this one young couple, no children.
Okay.
Husband just passed away suddenly. But they have other assets like car, the house. They have other kind of bank accounts under the husband, and then the credit card bills. So when he passed away suddenly, and ceritanya sedih lah because he passed away in her arms, right beside her. So because there's no wasiat, she had to go to get a letter of administration with the Family Justice Court. Before that, go to the Sharia Court to get inheritance certificate. And then, because there's no other beneficiary, the husband's parents, siblings are also involved in it. But in her situation, it's easier because they were helping her. They were trying to assist her.
Rather than making it difficult for her. Okay.
So, if you have a wasiat, you can actually appoint someone to administer as an administrator or executor of your will. Then there's no dispute lah as to who will do this or the other. So that whole process, took a long time, about close to 4 to 5 months for her.
Lama tu.
Because there were some other complications along the way. And then in the meantime, the debt keep on running, and the banks, the credit card. Finally, she got everything sorted out. Tapi after that, she said, "Syukur that it's finally over, and then now she can handle everything." Because as a Muslim, our first priority is to administer the estate, meaning to settle the hutang piutang arwah, all the debts and obligation. Sometimes people do haji badal, sometimes people do majlis tahlil. But sometimes you don't have the resources to do this because it's all locked up inside the arwah punya account. And poor thing, because the money is there but they can't get to it.
You have to wait.
Is there a reason why it's locked up?
Because banks, they are worse than lawyers.
Okay.
So because of bank account, if it's not under your name,
no one can access it.
Can access. There's banking secrecy provisions under Banking Act. So that I can't even ask whether you have a bank account in the particular bank.
I see.
So if you are not the bank account holder, you cannot access. Of course, some people cakap, but I tahu dia punya ATM. But technically, you can't access lah.
Because the card is yours and yours only.
Tapi kalau you don't have that, then how are you going to access it? So the only way is to get this letter of administration, so that the administrator then steps into the shoes of the so-called the arwah, the deceased, and then access. Imagine, all these things. It's tough, but I think for all couples out there, do your wasiat. The last time I updated my wasiat was just in February and March. Because before I traveled to Palestine for the humanitarian mission. Yeah.
Okay.
So I try to, and there's always a, there's a hadith and there's a prophetic tradition to actually do your wasiat. And it's actually more important to do your wasiat because as Muslims, we're always thinking about our next journey, the death.
Yeah.
And then I have this thing that if you don't think about the people that you leave behind, then you will not able to cater to them and care for them.
Yeah.
This is the way.
Which is something that I feel, I think we spoke about it of course as well, that I feel that partly our community finds it like a taboo to talk about death in itself. You know, sometimes some of them even mention things like, tak mau berbual pasal ni, nanti nak sangat mati ke, you know, that kind of misconception.
Not talking about it is actually more dangerous.
Yeah.
Because you talk about it, and it's okay to talk about mortality. It's a certainty in life. Kita tak akan sini forever.
Yes.
Mati itu pasti.
Correct. And so, if anything happens to both of us, who will take care of the children?
Right.
Yeah. So, when it comes to preparing for it, by way of maybe you do a CPF nomination, an insurance nomination, you already making clear your intent. Sebagai seorang Muslim, it's your niat. Is the one that is important. Wasiat is actually not just about giving. It's actually about appointing and about the intent. So it's a pesanan to your the one that you leave behind. So you say that I've already given, and then I've seen cases where people wanted to give to their special needs child, or to set up a trust, or they want to give to their basically their grandchildren because maybe the parents are incarcerated. So they also want to make sure that what will happen to them. These are real issues that I think we need to think about because all of this we need to cater to it lah. But there's also, you cannot just do any wasiat any old how lah. So ada orang cakap, I think you all have done the street interview. You probably somebody say that I want to do a wasiat to give to my wife. Tak boleh. So there are two rules too. And this is according to hukum syariah. You can only give up to 1/3 of your asset worth. And then within that 1/3 also, you cannot give to your Faraid beneficiaries.
But Faraid beneficiaries are your wife.
Let's say you have a wife and a child and a son. Then it's the Faraid beneficiary will be a wife and a son lah. But for anyone out there who wants to know who are your Faraid beneficiaries, senang je. You go to the Sharia court on your website. There's an online inheritance calculator. You just key in lah, gerbak-gerbuk. So there's sometimes people say, pakcik ni aku ada hak tau. I got the hak no. Betul ke cik? Test. So you just put in pakcik belah mana belah mak ke belah bapa dia put in. Then kalau you trying sister ataupun half brother ke apa, you can put in. Then the whole system will kick out siapa yang tak ada. So that's the proof. So the technology is there, and then they can even calculate the computation for the Faraid. But why 1/3, right? There is, dalam sirah Rasulullah SAW, is some sahabat actually wanted to give everything 100% to charity. Then then Baginda said, do justice. They said, okay, I'll give 50% away. Then he said, do justice. They said, okay, I give 1/3 away. Now you're doing justice. Justice is actually taking care of the people under your ward, being responsible, and not just giving everything to people. Remember what I told you about my daughter? Help people is front-facing, but help her to understand is more important. So you got to learn that leaving the people you leave behind is the most important thing, is priority, right? So when we do wasiat, when we do planning through maybe insurance nominations to CPF nomination, we are actually leaving the true intent of how to care for the people we leave behind.
Right.
Oh, I got goosebumps just now.
Kan.
MashaAllah. So, okay, for me, right, honestly, I'm not really sure of
The difference,
what happens after death. So, for example, like situational, if I don't. We have to normalize the conversation.
Okay,
so
yes.
in
Okay,
the
let's
event,
normalize the conversation. Okay,
in the event
that I pass away.
that my husband passed away,
Okay.
the first thing that will happen macam, because I always hear people say macam, alah tak payah plan lah, kan Faraid ada. So is Faraid like a foolproof way that to care for your loved ones after you pass on?
Well, actually, in short, it's not the be all and end all.
Okay.
It cannot be relied upon just as a matter of course lah. Leaving it to Faraid alone, I think is not ideal, because the intent of who will do this administration, go to court, go to the bank and all this. Someone needs to do it.
Right.
And if there are any dispute as to who will be the administrator, then it will delay the matter further.
Yeah.
Under the law and dalam segi hukum, the Intestate Succession Act doesn't apply to Muslims. And under Section 111 of the AMLA, the Administration of Muslim Law Act, a Muslim can only dispose of his asset by in accordance with Muslim law. And what is Muslim law? It's Sharia. According to Faraid and everything else. And every one of the beneficiary too has a hak to become an administrator. Because Islam is very beautiful in the sense that you as a wife, you as a daughter, although the shares are different, you have the equal right to become the administrator. In civil law, it's different. The wife there's a priority list. Wife, dulu, then anak, then baru parent or something like that. But in Sharia, everyone's the same.
Equal.
So you can actually, of course, you must be of majority age to become the administrator. And so then, who will become the administrator? At least choose. So I always, when I see wasiat, it touches me because you will appoint someone. But there's also the wasiyah itself, the pesanan itself. Like, remember your, and it's very intimate. They will say about your prayers, remember the good times.
Oh, they leave like messages, is it?
Messages and all that. You can, and it's actually the time when we say that, this is the arwah speaking to all of you. And the one-third rule I've already explained, but the one that you cannot give is to your beneficiary itself. So you cannot give the one-third to your wife. One-third to why? Because you tak boleh pilih kasih. You cannot prefer someone over the other. You know, you watch all these Netflix movies, right? And then there will be the reading of the will, and then everybody, kenapa sih?
Why does he deserve to get the full property?
You see what was that? The Tiga Abdul, the Piramli show. The wasiat, wow. This guy get the house, this one get all the shares, then what do I get? I get this old house and all this. So you cannot have unfair preference such that you because it's Faraid, it's already the proportions are quite clear. Then if you want to give to a particular beneficiary, there are ways to do it.
There are ways.
So first, of course, you give it as a hibah, as a intervivos trust or intervivos gift. So then you can say, I give already. So you got any problem, you tell me. Because I'm still alive, right? Or there are nominations already that you have made, which is quite clear. So MUIS have come out with fatwa to say that, yes, this is the intent of the arwah. There was a 2008 Court of Appeal case called Shafiq. So the arwah didn't have any male inheritors, no son. So the two daughter and wife. Then I think the male inheritors wanted a share of it.
Like the brothers.
Brothers or uncle or something like that. So last time, the house under joint tenancy, so they say that 50% should go to the Faraid. The 50% is the wife one, then the 50% Faraid. That means the wife, the daughter, and then the other male inheritors. how to cut a house into quarter gitu kan. You must sell the house. So once you sell the house, kesian the widow who has been taking care of the child of the husband has to sell the house and then now have to get another loan to buy another house. Kan? And then out on the streets. So the Court of Appeal and the lawyers thinking that this doesn't do justice, right? Then the reasoning of the court, it looks at the intent of the holding of the property. The holding of the property was under joint tenancy. So you're like your house here. When you sign it with the HDB, you can choose to either joint tenancy or tenants in common. Tenants in common ni macam you can specify lah 50-50, 25-75, 30-70. Usually macam kalau siblings lah. But kalau husband and wife is usually joint tenancy because kita tak payah tak percentage lah. Meaning what it really means is that you and you both owns 100%. 100% indivisible lah.
Okay.
Which means anything you already ada jatuh niat that whatever happens to you, your wife will take 100%.
Right.
So you dah buat hibah rukbah, conditional gift, which is Sharia. So you see, walaupun HDB rules datang now, our Islamic concept dah lama dah. It's actually because most of the jurisprudence came from, I can give another lecture. I give lectures in NUS. How the Crusaders come and then they take all this jurisprudence, go back to England and set up Inns of Court, and then that's why you see lawyers pakai rope kan.
Jubah.
And then kenapa ada belakang ada macam pocket. Pasal itu bayaran dia kat belakang. So you don't get, because bayar belakang cerita, that kind of thing. Like you ikhlas.
They don't really focus on the money, but want to solve the things first.
So that's doing the justice. So after that case, there was a khutbah that said that whatever you do, whatever heart you have, it must be for there is a responsibility that you need to meet up. Then Muiz updated the fatwa to say that joint tenancy for HDB flats are considered a gift, right? So Alhamdulillah, if you are hearing this, you check lah. You go to my HDB, tengok whether it's tenants in common or joint tenants.
I think joint gitu punya.
I think joint.
Yeah.
Joint tenant.
So when you do your wasiat pun, you make clear that this house is already joint tenancy and it's already given to my wife. Dan tak ada orang ada sanksi lagi niat arwah tu macam mana.
Right.
So we really need to make sure kita dalam surah Al-Baqarah, whatever it is that was in agreement described, you have to put it down. So it's part and parcel of our narrative or our training kan, as Muslim. Write it down, document it down, make sure that it's proper. And so I hope with the Islamic legacy planning that we have, more of our community will write it down. Write it down properly with people, and we'll make it accessible, make it easy, help you to do the CPF nomination, help you do the check your HDB, check, make sure that you appoint your administrator, give you the toolkit so that you know bila something ada kematian, then you know exactly what to do after that. Imagine you berkabung kan, suddenly people say, aku nak hak. Relax kan? Because then jangan jadi benda tu tercetus jadi pertikaian, then you feel that you want to everything is against you. So I was thinking about my client, the one that the husband passed away just suddenly, and she didn't have the benefit of all this,
because there was no wasiat,
and no one who to guide her at that time. And if someone does that, then at least insya'Allah, for our community, our Muslim community will know that actually this is something that's normalized. It should be, and they will be prepared for it, and hopefully they will bring them closer to the faith.
I actually experienced it as well personally when my last remaining grandparent passed away. Then the bertekak start lah, who gets what. Just passed away, belum sempat kebumikan pun orang dah start bergaduh, dah start.
Orang kata tanah liat yang belum kering lagi.
Belum kering lagi, that's the word.
I totally agree. I think in fact if you do a wasiat and then you tell people about it, you kind of like already prepare your family, and then you reduce the chances of this bertekak lah. Right?
It's clear.
And it's clear, you know, like, hey, everybody witnessed it. Like, what are you talking about? You know, it's there. The son will be the administrator, and then the one-third will go to Wakaf Masyarakat Singapura, plug. then
Very nice.
then the two-third will be according to Faraid. Then all this, then people will like, hey, this is niat arwah. We have to respect. And then actually, if it's given, right, it's not your heart already. So these are things that we really have to be careful about. And I think if you already have done that, you actually lower the risk of any dispute, any contestation. And then orang semua dah tak surprise tau. Talking about surprise, maybe I tell you about the case, this widow lah, in the house. When I was a young lawyer, I was acting for a bank. Then the bank actually needed to foreclose this property tau. This property called lawa lah. It's a strata cluster landed.
Big house.
And big house with and it's owned by a young couple. Orang kita. Or actually not young couple. One young man. But he passed away suddenly. So the mortgage, the loan wasn't serviced, so the bank had to foreclose. At the court hearing, the widow came. The wife was crying, and then she was surprised because she said she didn't know that my husband bought this property.
Big house. Untuk siapa tu?
Untuk siapa? She was thinking, is there another woman?
Oh no.
What is? I mean, he living a double life. You know, these things eats into you.
Creates a lot of uneasiness also.
And I feel for her because I said that, sorry, tapi you need a counsellor lah, bukan a lawyer kan. But the judge knew me, and the judge said, Mr. Zul, can you help out? Bring her to the house. I said, alamak, ini mesti kalau ada
kalau ada orang ketiga,
mesti big fight lah. So I was with my court clerk, Raimi, and said to him, ni kalau ada orang kat dalam ni, we just panggil polis lah. Takut nanti ada gaduh kan. Then we went in, the house was empty. It was already, it's very nice, but it lacked a furniture and all that. So we empty house. We run around, we walk around and nothing. She went to one of the rooms, and then I think I heard her cry. And I saw that she ada cut. There was a cut.
A written cut.
I do not know what was written in it. But she said that it was something that the husband probably wanted to give her and surprise her.
Tak sempat.
Tak sempat.
InsyaAllah.
It's, to me, I feel that, why don't you luahkan? You know, I mean, we want open communication among couples. Of course, you're not surprised. Tapi in a big ticket item like this, if you have a wasiat, if you have something, and you say that this house is for my wife and all that,
and this is already covered.
Yes. And that's why I really, really feel from that day onwards that everyone should plan. Not for you. You are not planning for you. You're planning for who you leave behind before you leave this world.
Right. Normally for conversations, right? For between husbands and wives, you really want to be open with each other, to really sit in the discomfort. I think we talked about it in one of the episodes with a psychiatrist.
Talking about death is always uncomfortable, but needs to be done.
Needs to be done because after all, mati itu pasti.
Betul.
Kan? And then if we love each other so much, we wouldn't want to burden them further with whatever that might be left behind. So I think the first step, after you guys hear this episode, go and talk to your partner. Said, I want to talk about death. Bukan pasal besok nak mati, tak, jauhkanlah, kita jauhkan. But of course we talk about, we prepare ourselves for what is certain. Just that we do not know when we're going to pass. Even that story that Mr. Zul shared also, the husband do not know. Pretty sure he doesn't know he's going to pass. He was out of the blue, he suddenly lost his life, kan? So I think it's very good that we prepare early.
Yes.
I think we also should start doing that also, kan?
And whenever you speak to your spouse about this, there's always going to be, you can poll your listeners. There's going to be this question: are you going to remarry or not? There's gonna be a question for that.
Panas tu.
So okay, that one you might unpack it in a different episode. But it's not even a question that is to be answered. The question that has to be answered is this: who's taking care of the child, the children, the parent maybe, because it's your amanah, right?
Yeah.
So in the wasiat, in the your planning, to make sure that even if you can't stop someone from remarrying, maybe for circumstances, change and all that, but it doesn't diminish the love and care that he or she once had, right?
Yeah.
And so the children, the dependents need to be cared for. So while doing the planning, you're also future proofing the care and control of the children, the dependents. Ada yang ada special needs child, ada yang need special medical attention, other parents, grandparents that you really say, I want you to help. So, and it need not be your spouse also that to help. It might be other persons that you actually put into your wasiat to do this. And I feel, to all the couples listening, can have that conversation. It's difficult conversation to unpack, but steer it back to the now, because to the people that really depends on you. Because we are not planning for yourself. Kita yang dah meninggal ni dah okay dah. Dah different world. Orang yang kita tinggalkan.
They are the ones that are going to be going through whatever that is being left behind lah.
Betul. Wow. I learned so much today.
So it's very important for us to plan lah, because we do not want, even on a daily basis, we do not want to trouble our partner.
Yes.
And this is something that we still can control while we're still alive, right? And bila kita dah meninggal pula, I think something that your mom always say, she doesn't want her children to be burdened by her passing. Kan? So and that one also, like savings and whatnot, it all falls under planning for the afterlife.
Yes.
Not afterlife, planning for life after death.
Yes.
Planning for afterlife tu ibadah iman apa keimanan semua jangan lupa ibadah korang
Kau cakap I love you to your husband, to your wife, to your kids, but really I love you too sampai ke akhirah kan. So you want to make sure that in your passing as well, they are well taken care of. And
InsyaAllah.
you can do that. You can actually have the control to do that actually with Faraid, with wasiat, with CPF nominations. All these, you can actually plan for it to make sure that your family is well taken care of.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the message that, important message that we want to impart today to our listeners. Especially we know most of our listeners are married. Right? This is an important thing that you need to discuss with your partner.
Yes, right. So, of course, big thank you once again to Mr. Zul
Thank you,
for
Mr. Zul.
coming down to our humble home studio and for sharing this amazing episode with us lah.
My pleasure. Inshallah, your efforts, your initiative may bear fruit for our listeners and our community. And I hope they really, through the planning, they will be closer to each other and to the one that created them.
InsyaAllah, amin. So, sebelum kita akhirkan episod ni, kita ada tagline. Dah rancang, dah senang. 1, 2, 3 kita cakap sama-sama, okay? Okay, so dah rancang, dah senang. We'll see you guys in the next episode. We have come to the end of another episode of OUTSIDEIN.
If you like what you hear, please follow us on all our socials, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify and YouTube.
And share it with all of your friends and family members so that they can benefit from this episode, InsyaAllah.
InsyaAllah.
Till next time, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.